Hey, welcome back. In this video, we're going to cover the stroke layer style. So I've gone ahead and saved this little project of ours in the layer styles project folder, so you can have access to it. And I'm just going to click here and hold down Alt, click on my guy and drag. Get while holding down Shift. Now what I've been able to do is duplicate it by just clicking, holding down Alt and dragging. So if you click, hold down Alt and drag, you're going to duplicate your layer. So we're going to experiment layer styles with this guy here. So while selecting it, double click to go into the layer styles mode. Okay, so this is stroke, and I've just applied my stroke. You can see that the entire color changed, right? And that's not supposed to happen with stroke, but I worked with strokes earlier on and Photoshop remembered my settings. So what I'll just do is to come to this layer, size, okay, the stroke size, and reduce the stroke size. So you can see what we now have. And the reason why we're having our stroke inside our text is because it's selected here. So we have it inside. So we want to have it outside for now. Yours will probably be like this. Okay, so we can increase the size of our stroke and you can see what we get. You can choose a blending mode, and like I said before, we don't need to stress about blending modes for now because we have a whole module on blending modes. And again, this is the position of your stroke. You can make it outside your shape, you can make it inside your shape, or you can make it in the center of your shape, so it's going to be between inside and outside basically, but I want to keep it outside. Then we have what we call the color fill, or rather the fill type, not color. So right now it's set to color. That's why we can click here and change the color to what we want. Okay, and then we can make this default, so it's going to remember the settings and make the settings the default settings. So whenever we want to add the stroke, it's going to just remember this settings as our default settings, or we can reset this to the default settings that came with Photoshop. Okay, so you can actually choose other fill types. We have the gradient fill, and it basically fills our stroke with a gradient. Now we can reduce the size. We click here to edit our gradient, add presets. Remember we looked at gradient presets, right? When we were looking at gradients under shape. Okay, so we can choose multiple presets, or we can choose any preset we want. Okay, and we can even edit our presets. Okay, let's say we want to edit the colors. We can click here or double click there and then change the color, or click and then click here and then change the color. We can add colors by coming here and just clicking. You get coming here and just clicking, and then maybe change the color to this. Then come here and click and change the color to this. And click OK. Perfect. So we have what we call the opacity, and you definitely know what opacity is. These are the opacity handles. So if you click here, you'll be able to change the opacity of the colors, okay, or of your gradient from here to here. So let's say this is 0. So we're going to see our colors flowing from 100 to 0. Get. And you can add more opacity handles by just clicking here and clicking here. So basically that's it for the gradient, and you can add patterns. So let's just look at some of these other gradient options here. So you can reverse your gradient, you can change the direction or the angle of your gradient, you can reduce the scale or increase the scale. Now scale is basically the blending between colors, how well they blend. So if you make the scale smaller, you're going to see that the blending isn't much, right? But if you make the scale 100, you see that it blends well. So that's just it for the gradient fill. We have the patterns, and it's basically like patterns which we looked at in the last video and in other videos before it. Okay, so we don't have to stress about this. Now there's one other thing we could do. 2 strokes. Go into strokes again, and one thing we can do is we can add a stroke on top of a stroke. So just click on stroke, and then where you see this plus, just click it, and now we have a second stroke. Now this guy is the one on top and this guy is the one below, just like how the layers can be structured. You get, so we have layers of strokes. So it means this one is going to show first before this guy. Okay, so we could just select this guy and make it bigger so that it appears behind the one in front. So when I change the color, you see that it appears behind the first stroke, right? So I might want to change this to gradient 2, but maybe a different gradient, maybe blues, maybe one of these presets on the blues, and then have this guy to be on the reds. Okay, so that's the way to add multiple gradients to a layer. Okay, and there is one way to copy between layers, that's to copy effects between layers, and I showed you the first way before. And one other way to do it is to just come to the layer, and then come to the effect, and then hold down Alt on your keyboard, and then click your mouse or left click your mouse and drag it to the new layer you want it, and then release. So you can see that we've copied this guy here, that's the one outside, the stroke outside, to our layer here. So that's basically how to copy, or that's basically another way to copy your layer style. Okay, so that's that for our strokes. In the next video, we're going to look at the inner glow layer styles. See you in the next one.